Good morning, everybody. It's Yvette, and I'm here in my kitchen getting ready to start cooking for Thanksgiving. And I have a special dish that people have been asking to see on the channel, so I'm going to be doing that today. It's not going to be a super long video. I'm just going to show lots of prep, how things go through, and at the end, bada bing, bada boom, we're gonna have one dish for Thanksgiving. And actually, this is a great dish for any time. So I will be sharing that with you right here. Okay, guys, so here I am. I have collected the ingredients that I'm going to use in my Cajun rice dressing. Now, those of us who live, at least in my, like down where I grew up, in southern Louisiana, we call it rice dressing. You guys have probably heard of it as dirty rice, perhaps, but we call it rice dressing. That's what we call it, and that's what we called it when I was growing up. And so now that I'm up in Yankee country, these are the kinds of, I have to gather some of the things. For instance, I don't have a whole lot of choice. Not that I would choose something different, but I'm just saying this is the mix that I use. Gosh, there's like glare everywhere. It's Savoy's dressing mix, and I purchase it in bulk. Like I will purchase 4 or 5 containers at a time from CajunGrocer.com, and they send it to me frozen. You keep it frozen until you need it. I pulled this one out last night and just stuck it in the sink for it to defrost overnight, and it is fine if it's not completely defrosted, because you're just going to be throwing it in a pan, right? So that's my dressing mix that I use. The seasoning I use is Tony Chachere's Original Creole seasoning. We use Tony Chachere's all the time in Louisiana, at least in my family. I'm only speaking about my family, peeps, okay? And when you're mixing it up, that's the oven saying, I'm hot. So when you're mixing things up, growing up in southern Louisiana, I learned to cook by eyeballing everything. So I can just tell you that a lot of the things that I do are personal preference. For instance, I will use a couple onions and a couple bell peppers. You might want more, you might want less, you might not want one of these. Maybe you want to throw celery in. I mean, it's completely up to you. Sometimes I'll throw garlic in as well. I might put a little bit of garlic powder just because I usually use, I mean, it's fine if you want to use fresh garlic, but I also use the one that comes in the little round container, like where it's chopped or minced actually. I have to look around and see if I have some, because honestly, I don't remember if I do. And if I don't, that's fine. There is some garlic in here. And you can also use a garlic powder if you want. I would personally not use a garlic salt because there's already enough salt in the seasoning. So you don't want to over salt things. So now that's the dressing mix, but I also will, here we can get what's called a meatloaf mix, and it'll just put, it's a blend of ground beef, pork, and veal. And so I will just put a couple pounds of that because I'm making it for a lot of people. And also it's nice to make a big batch if you want to have it with, you know, throughout the week or whatever. So I'll show you a little bit later whenever I'm actually getting into preparing, but I also use a beef stock and a bone broth, and I'll show you what I use. I just pretty much get to the store and figure out what I want then. And what else? Oh, and then the rice, of course. Now, personally, I like a sticky rice. I used to be able to get a sushi rice at the store, which was this same brand. It's called Rice Select. But now I just get this arborio rice, and I might be saying that wrong. This is what they use in risotto. So it is a very short grain rice. And plus I just really like sticky rice. So anyway, whatever rice you want, it really doesn't matter. And those are all the ingredients pretty much. So I'm gonna get started on cooking. Okay, so I have my mixture, and let me turn on the light. There we go. And just gonna start it sauteing a bit. going to take my Tony's, and just remember you're seasoning for 2+ pounds. So I like to get it in there. And you can always add more later, so don't go too crazy with it. Okay, and you can add your dressing mix. You can brown the ground meat if you would like before, but I don't think it's really necessary. Having my coffee. Okay, so you don't have to cook it all the way because this is going to cook all day. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add this, you're going to see it upside down, this bone broth. That's the first thing I'm going to add. And I just pick one. There's no rhyme or reason for this particular brand. There's going to be a lot of liquid, but it's going to cook down. And I like to use a culinary stock, and I just get a beef. Like I said, no rhyme or reason about the brand. I just pick one that looks good. And like I said, this is going to cook down, so it's okay that it's got this much liquid in it. Okay. Now I'm just going to cover it, and I'm going to turn the heat down to about medium low and check it every like half hour. It'll really cook all day. Like, you can cook this for hours and it'll just taste better and better. Okay, so it has been since, let's just say 10 o'clock, because I didn't really pay that much attention. So it's been like 4.5 hours. You really don't have to cook it this long, or you can cook it all day. It really doesn't matter. But here's what it looks like now after 4.5 hours. I'm just giving it a quick stir. And I did add another container of beef broth. Beef broth or beef stock? I'm trying to remember. I think it was beef broth. But you can also just add water if you want. And this, I'm going to let cook down just a little bit more. And I'm going to make my rice. For this amount, I only have like a small rice cooker. So I'll probably just make, I'll put like a couple of cups of rice, which will make a pretty full amount. I'll show you before I throw it in there. But really you can put the rice in just toward the end. And it is perfectly fine for there to be maybe not this much liquid, but you do still want to have a bit of liquid in there because the rice will soak it all up. So that'll be the next step. And then we'll be done. So I'll be back. Okay, sorry about all the noise, but we can't turn off the fan. So here we are. And this is what your beef base should look like, roughly. And this has now been going for about 5.5 hours. And I'm going to add the rice. And then we just stir it in. Okay, usually when I make it, I will have a little bit less of the stock still in there, but I'm gonna let this, we still have about an hour to dinner, so I'm just going to cover it and move it over, and all of the rice and everything will just, it'll get really good. So I will do a little taste test just before we eat. Okay, so we've already eaten, and I couldn't make the video a little bit earlier because we had the fan going off in the kitchen and we couldn't get it to turn off because we had so many things cooking at the same time, and there was like smoke everywhere. Kidding, there wasn't smoke everywhere. So I've decided that I'm just going to try to choke down a bite for you because seriously, we've all eaten way too much food. So I have a little taste of my, oops, I haven't had that much wine, I swear. A little bit of taste of the rice dressing. There it is, sort of close up. And yes, I do have it in a little kitty bowl because I'm the cat lady. Okay, so here we go. I have already had some, so I can tell you it's good. That's why I'm willing to have more. Here he goes. It is really good. So what I'd really like for you guys to do is leave me a comment down below telling me what's your favorite side dish. Don't say turkey. Everybody says turkey. What's your favorite side dish? And do you have it all year round, or do you make it only for Thanksgiving? What do you do? I'd really love to know. And please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Ring that bell. And send all your friends over. And I'll see you in the next video. I hope you learned something, and I really hope that you make this dish. If you do, I want to hear about it. Mwah. Okay, guys. So I am making this very brief ending video to give a shout out to all my Louisiana peeps, well, my family. So thanks, special thanks to my sister Teresa, her husband Todd, their kids, Riley, Abigail, who goes by Abby, and Charlie, to George and his wife Kristen, and their kids Michael and Liam. And also special thanks for teaching me everything I know about cooking, my mom. I love you guys. I hope I made you proud in this video, and I will see y'all later. Mwah.